What's good? It's your boy Siffy G, the Esoteric Warrior. Hope everyone's doing good today. The question came up about sparring, and today's scientific research says that sparring is better done light. This is nothing new to me and the arts that I teach. It's quite sad actually, because in Kung Fu there's ways to develop the body, and this is what is missing in today's UFC, in my honest opinion. The way to spar, the skills set to get the strikes to land properly. See, most people, when they fight in the UFC, they're using boxing with Muay Thai and then grappling. And the guard of boxing and so forth is in front of the body, elbows down and protecting the face, right? And the chin and so forth. And that allows your opponent to get closer to you. In Kung Fu and the arts, especially the Hakka arts, our bridge extends a little further than that, from mid to long range bridge. And as much as it looks ineffective or less power, you can get so much done from that range. And what I mean by that is, by extending that bridge, I get closer to my opponent, and if I'm a grappler, all I need to do is get my hands close to grabbing his arms and stop him from punching, right? So someone like Sean Strickland, if you watched over the weekend the latest UFC, I'm a massive UFC fan. I love combat sports no matter what. I've competed myself in semi-contact, full contact Kung Fu, kickboxing, judo and boxing throughout my life. So I'm a big advocate in sparring, although sparring can be done lightly and you can do so much. You can even do things that you didn't think you could do, pull things off that, if you're not getting hurt each class, you can do more sparring. And if it's light, you can do lots all day, and you can develop skill sets from that rather than going hard. I understand that coming to a competition such as a title fight like Volk, you got to spar fairly hard in the UFC way, but if you pulled it back and used the methods of limb destruction, you wouldn't be copping that many hits to the face, and you can actually take out your opponent very quick. I've reached out to a couple of UFC people. I wish they would take up my offer so I can teach them just what they're doing with all these new leg kicks, right, to the shin, to the calf muscle, to deaden the nerve. That's been in Kung Fu from year dot. It's called the Iron Broom as well. So target is the most crucial. Where you're hitting is going to get the maximum result. And because they're stuck in the boxing mindset, they think that they have to be good at or better than their opponent, obviously, right? But they got to slip punches, they got to duck weave. Don't forget there's knees, kicks, and takedowns. And why they're trying to slip punches and move away from someone while they're in range and they're banging each other, they could have already taken out the sting of people's punches from the beginning, right? With limb destruction, hammer fist style, Siffy G's hammer fist style. You can do so much damage. What you're doing with the calf kicks in UFC, the UFC fighters, they can be also applying that with their hands to the arms of their opponent, right, to take out their strike and weapon. Just like hitting the body, and every strike gets, takes a bit of oomph out of you over time. Every body punch, every strike that you cop starts to take the sting out, and your level drops, right? Just like in a game, like you get hit, and your confidence, as well as if it's a good hit and it's rung your bells and you're just trying to survive a round. But a lot of UFC fighters, I've got so much love and respect for anyone that steps in the ring, right? Anyone that steps in competition, I've got much respect for, right? Of course, I go for the Aussies when it comes to UFC. I want to see them do good. Robert Whittaker and Volk and all that. If you just allowed me to show you, right, what you can do to your opponent's bridge or the arm, rather than try to outstrike your opponent that's obviously stronger and has that knockout power. If you can take out the arms correctly and set it up, and I can show you how to do it, it is so easy. And getting back to Sean Strickland type of fighting, even with that knob jockey online, that influencer that he bashed, right? Good for you, Sean. Fucking oath, man. Teach him a lesson. But his fighting style, he starts to reach forward, and he can easily do. If you can parry punches, you can smash them, right? And if you can smash them, you're going to be taking out the wind of their strikes. You'll be also not only zapping their energy, but you've deflected it on an angle that allows you to have a perfect follow-up. And you can follow up with hammer fist strikes via boxing hands, right? And when you're in the clinch, you should be using more of the elbow. Like in pummeling, you can slice through the ribs rather than going under the arm. You can do so much rather than the conventional way. And that's where Kung Fu has so much to offer, and it's a shame that Kung Fu don't get enough praise because it's been around for a long time. And if you're a fighter, such as UFC fighters, they're in peak condition. They're athletic, they're fast, explosive. If they use Siffy G's hammer fist style, it's going to change the game. I'm telling you right now. And if anything, Dana White, reach out to me. I've got a new sport for you, and it will take over. Too easy. But UFC fighters are not thinking about upstairs. They're stuck in a conventional way, and it's boxing hands, elbows and knees, Muay Thai, and takedowns, BJJ, whatever. And that's all and good. You got to have a grappling game, and you can go from hammer fist and a longer hand guard to, if you're a grappler, all you need to do is one hit and you've got them, because you're gotten closer. The more you're pulling back and you're holding your guard like this, it allows them to get closer. But my hands out in a three-quarter extension, I can still develop power, and the power that is generated in Kung Fu, especially with hammer fist and limb destruction, is you want a tan ging or a song tan ging, a relaxed, springy type force that rebounds. So sparring, depending on the art and where you are on level, you can get two good martial artists of the same style. They can go at a good 50-60% and not get hurt and be able to pull their punches to the face if it's non-contact to the face, right? You can get away with that with headgear, and especially the way I teach, you arm it up so you can smash those arms really hard, and it only takes a few hits to the biceps and knowing where to hit to just take the arm out, where someone strong is not going to be able to fire that power. Just like kicking the calf muscle, they can't stand properly, they won't be able to throw strikes properly, right? So adapt Siffy G's Haka hammer fist style and understand how to use that range of your arms to be able to generate power from a long bridge to a medium bridge and from close range. So there's different types of concepts and philosophies for fighting using just where your arms sit, right? There's open guards as well, and there's closed tight guards, right? Some use a tight guard, some use an open guard, one hand up, one down, gives them a door open, one up and one down from the lead. These are setups and traps, right? And understanding what your strike will be for something like this, attacking this gate, will already give you your defense, because you know exactly what your opponent will try to do from that attack. It's not hard to understand, but I watched so many good fighters that went 3-5 rounds of blood when they didn't need to go, and the suffering afterwards, right, and the pain is not worth it if you know how to use your hammer fist and take out the upper body, the arms of your opponent. We call limb destruction. Just like you do with the calf kick, apply it to the upper body, breaking the collarbones, taking out the triceps, biceps, forearms, even the wrist, because it's so powerful. Alright, so as much as I love watching the UFC, I hate seeing people get battered for so long and ripped and cut open when they've been winning for the first 2 rounds, and then they're busted up by the last when they could have already finished it, in my honest opinion, utilizing limb destruction upstairs. So at the end of the day, it's all depends on how you are as a fighter, and if you have the open mind and think outside the box, and you could change the whole game and become a champion quick and not get as cut up and bloodied, and make it such a sport where it's a blood sport, obviously, but you don't want to be copping too much damage, right? So the hammer fist as a limb destruction can be your best weapon, and conditioning at forearms and arms is needed, right? So UFC fighters, I love yous all, what yous do, true warriors. I got nothing but respect, but I fucking wish you guys would adopt hammer fist as your defense and your offense, right? Because the first strike to the person's arm, if you got time to parry and just fuck around like this when people are just learning to get their distance in the start of a round, that's your opportunity just to smash it straight from the bat. they'll be thinking twice about throwing them again, and then they'll be swinging wide, and then you take out the biceps and then smash into the head. I mean, there's opportunities that I can see of, if I had a UFC fighter that would want to just allow me to show them the method and concept and prove to them how they can use it and the power that they can generate, especially the muscle force. And some of these guys are just brilliant athletes, so they'll be able to pull this off a lot easier and better when trained than someone that's been doing it a long time, because that's their job. All right, so I hope that helps for the questions regarding sparring. Another way I introduce sparring is, and it comes from the One Yun system, is your partner will have gloves on and you put your hands behind your back, and you just have to learn how to slip and move. And not allowed to move any legs, just in a fighting stance, so you're not allowed to step back or sidestep or angle off, but you are allowed to use your body and dipping and weaving. And then you use one hand against two hands, and then the rear hand versus two hands. So you learn how to fight. Right? If you're broken your knuckles and you've only got one hand. But what I'm trying to say with this is there's a concept of learning to better your skill on your hand power and your technique by just training one hand only before two hands. It's a concept that not many do, but you can, it's like some boxers may tape their right hand and just get their jabs and learn how to do rounds in jabs. A very similar concept, right? So one is the defense of the body, using recognizing how the person strikes with all the hands only, not legs, right? So they're already in range. And then when I get into the sparring part, we start off with body punches only, because a lot of people are head shy, and not everyone on their first night wants to go home with a bloodied nose and black eye. It does, for some people, turn them off, especially if they're a high position job, right? And they're a PR of their workplace, and they need to be seen, and they don't want that. BJJ can go a good 60-70% rolling, and two good practitioners can go even harder and know each other without getting hurt. So in Kendo, they've got their own sport, and they're all padded up, and they got all their way of hitting and striking. So it should be done safely, and you can do more, rather than who wants to go in there knowing that someone's better than you and he's just going to thrash you. It doesn't help. And it's just an ego thing. So you can start light and you can try many different techniques and no one gets hurt, but you're still developing some type of skill. And I'm not talking just patty cake crap, I'm talking about real jabs, real punches, but with nothing behind them, maybe 40% power and stuff like that, and you can get a lot done. Other than that, sparring hard is need to be done by professionals only, and skill level basically the same. Otherwise a beginner going into a professional boxing gym and wanting to spar someone is just gonna get them destroyed. So there's levels to the game when it comes to sparring. My screen went dark there, so sorry about that. Yeah, so there's levels to sparring, right? You just can't expect from the jump off, and most beginners are so terrified, unless they're just an idiot, to go hard, right? So a lot have got nerves, and they'll come in fast and hard and thrashing, and some of them that's where you get hurt, is when people don't know how to box or don't know how to keep properly and throw properly, and that's how people get hurt. But you can get away with Sansal techniques, which is application of the movements from the form and applying it to a realistic scenario, right? Like I said, you can get the full armour and headgear on, and someone comes at you and you're doing those techniques that apply to that scenario against a push, a grab, a punch, a hook, uppercut, kick, a sweep, a throw on the ground, whatever it is. You've got to be able to apply the techniques from the forms, and they call them Sansal techniques, right? Application. And there's no use in doing the forms if you're not going to do the application or know the application behind it well enough to teach, because teaching it wrong is going to get your student or loved ones hurt. So there's levels to the game in sparring, but light is best in my honest opinion to medium, and you can do lots of it, 3 times a day, and you're better skill. And if you've got different types of games, like just kicking rounds only, kicking versus striking hands, kicking versus grappling, right? So you can go light and drill certain things that you want to improve on as well, right? So it's all about building your fight game. It's not about, I got to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I got to be a crew in Thai boxing, and I got to be Floyd Mayweather in boxing skills. You can get the shit done with a good old hammer fist to those arms and take them out quick, because they're not ready for the pain. They're not ready for the follow-up. So hammer fist can be absolutely devastating. It should be applied to your defense, you guys, and offense techniques on bridging the gap. Right? If you got time to parry, you got time to smash. And that's it for today. Much love to everyone, and hope to see you soon. Train hard, train smart. Mr. Esoteric Warrior is out.